I don't have too much makeup, and neither do you. But what I do have is too much makeup that's too old, that is the wrong shade, that doesn't work on my mature skin, or that I just don't like. So my goal in 2025 is to curate a makeup collection that is comprised only of items that I love, that are the right shade for me, that I like the color stories of, that work on my skin, and that make me happy when I use them. So that when I go into my foundation basket and pick a foundation, I could close my eyes, reach in, pick out a product, and know that it's going to work. That's my goal. Makeup is more than just powder and pigment to me. It's my hobby, and it's something that is fun, that's creative, that I enjoy. It's tactile and it's challenging, and it's creating a community around shared interests. And so, like many people with a hobby, I have a lot of accoutrement that goes with it, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell a painter that they have too many paints and too many brushes, or a seamstress that they have too much fabric and thread. And so I want to get away from this, I don't know, inventory shaming or something that seems to have been going on. And I realize that sometimes there's a fine line between like overconsumption and wastefulness and just having things around you that you enjoy. So am I decluttering? Absolutely, I am decluttering. But I'm not decluttering in order to have as few makeup products as possible. I am setting some goals about where I think I want to be at the end of the year in each category, but that is based on what's in that category, how old it is, how much is left in products that I think I can use up, that sort of thing. I'm not a minimalist. I don't intend to ever become a minimalist. So a couple things I'm doing to make this process work. I am logging every item I own in a spreadsheet. And wherever possible, I am putting in the date that I acquired it. And then on the product itself, I'm adding a sticker with the month and the year of when it came into my collection. That way, I can know at a glance if something is really getting old and I need to really focus on using it before it goes bad. I did have somebody ask how I remember when I purchased everything. Oh goodness, I don't. I have gone through Amazon orders. I've gone through Walmart orders. I look at my PayPal because anything I buy from my channel online, I go through my PayPal MasterCard. And so I can see, oh, there was an order from Catrice. And then I go to the Catrice website and I pull off what I purchased and add it to my spreadsheet. And yes, it has taken a lot of time. I am also, as I'm doing that, capturing links. And sometimes they're affiliate links and sometimes it's just a link to where the product can be found. But my hope is that as I go forward and I do videos with Shop My Stash or Project Pans or whatever, and I have to create that description box, all of my links are going to be in one place in that spreadsheet. And so while current me is kind of a little overwhelmed with the enormity of this task, future me is going to be so happy. In this video, we're going through my color correctors, my concealers, and my foundation. I've been doing these videos with the camera top down, facing down on my desk. Let me know down in the comments if that's how you like watching declutters, or would you rather me do it this way, hold up the product, and so that you can see my face? I'm just curious how you like to see your declutter videos. Let's turn the camera around and get into it. This is the concealer page from my spreadsheet, and there's still some blanks in here that need filling out. I will be adding the weight for each item, and then there's a column for when it's panned or decluttered. And I'm going to put the brand over here so that I can sort these by brand if I ever want to. Then down below that, there is a place to add my 2025 purchases. I am doing a no-buy for the entire first quarter of 2025. That's kind of going to help me get all this set up without continually to bring new things. And also, I tend to spend more in November and December with Black Friday and holiday sales. And so that first quarter is just kind of a step back, reset. And because my birthday month is April, I usually lift it after quarter one so that I can treat myself a little for my birthday. This basket contains all of my concealers, color correctors, under eye brighteners, that kind of stuff. And I am just going to keep them all together, even though I could separate them into different categories. Their function is to conceal or color correct, and so they're all staying together. I have a total of 31 products in this category. Let's get into it. By the way, stick around till the end because I will be going over totals and goals when I'm done with showing you all of the products. I have all 4 of the e.l.f. color correctors. I use the blue to cool down a foundation that's too warm for me. This yellow is a brightener. I rarely use this one. The green I use to conceal redness. Right now I have this red patch on the left side of my forehead, so I've been using this a lot more. And then the peach is an under eye color corrector. Peach cancels out the blue or purple tones under your eyes, and so you can use this prior to using a concealer, and then you end up needing less concealer, which can lead to less caking and creasing. I think for now I'm going to keep all of these. The one that's in question would be the yellow, and so I want to use this, see what it does for me, and if it's something that needs to stay in my inventory or not. I don't have stickers on these right now, but I do have their dates. I just need to add the stickers. They came into my collection in February of 23, so they are actually coming up on 2 years old. Wow. I had no idea I had them for almost 2 years already. Also in the color correcting category is this Hard Candy Sheer Envy Color Corrector Cushion Wonder. I really like this color corrector. I really hate the packaging. These packages with the sponge tip thing, they're just a mess. It's all over the cap. This one you open and close by twisting it, but when you do, you get it all over your fingers, and I just wish companies would say, you know what, we're not making that anymore. This one, as you can see, is almost gone, so I do think I'm going to put this in my PUD project. PUD stands for Project Use Up the Dribs and Drabs, and it is a project where I have things that are almost gone, and the only tracking I do in that project is it gone or is it not? And when it's gone, it rolls out and something else rolls in. So I think I might put that one in there. I have 4 of these pot under eye brightener type concealers. The Catrice is one of my favorites. It is very emollient. I think you can even see that probably. Let's see better light shining down on there. There we go. That you can see it's kind of shiny and emollient. My one criticism of these sometimes is that they're too emollient. And because they're a little bit shiny, they can sometimes emphasize texture if you use too much or you're not careful. It's kind of like painting a wall. If you have a lot of imperfections in the wall, you're going to want to use a flat or satin paint because it helps camouflage the imperfections. The glossier the paint, the more the imperfections are going to show up. Then I have the e.l.f. Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener in, I think this one is Rose. I don't know the exact shade. It is super similar to the Catrice. A little bit more pink, but they feel and perform almost identically. And then another one I have is the Bobbi Brown Corrector. This one is in Light Bisque. You can see I do have pan in this one. And it also feels like these. This one has a little bit more of a peachy tone, and it's not quite as emollient as these two. I have a feeling that both of these were going for this. They were trying to dupe or mimic or whatever the Bobbi Brown. And they are very similar. They're very close. But I think even looking at my hand, I think you can see that the Bobbi Brown does appear to be a little bit more smoothing than the other two. Then I have this by Drew, which is a Flower Beauty product. And I really like this one because it has the peach tone. I know I was going to do that. I hate these pots because I always get my fingernails in them. It has the peach tone, but it's matte. It doesn't have the emollients of these others. And so I feel like it helps camouflage the lines and such a little bit better. It is, however, a little bit darker. And I'm not going to swatch everything. I just kind of wanted to go through those, not just for your sake, but also for my own, to understand if all of these are actually needed in my inventory. Because I'm not unhappy with any of these, right now I'm not going to declutter them, because my goal, remember, is to make sure that anything I reach for, I like and works. And all 4 of these meet that criteria. Moving into concealers, I have this Catrice Ultimate Camouflage Cream Concealer. This is the only concealer I have in a pot. And it's kind of a little bit dry, but it's a little bit like the e.l.f. Under Eye Putty primer that they used to have. And that when you rub it between your fingers, it gets really creamy and emollient. And then when you need a little more coverage under your eyes, this does a really good job. So I am going to keep that, and I'm considering actually making this my eyelid primer. All right, I got to stop swatching or we'll be here forever. I have 2 of the Moira Mega Concealers, and that's because I bought these to do a full face of Moira. And the 150 is actually a little bit too dark. This is great though for a face concealer. So I am not decluttering this because I really do enjoy the formula of this. So then I got 125, and it is actually just slightly dark. I think 120 might be perfect, but I'm certainly not buying another one since I already have two. And this one actually does work. It would just be a little more brightening if I had one shade down. It's waterproof, full coverage, and so if you're looking for that level of coverage, I do like this one. Somebody asked me recently what my favorite concealer was, and I didn't have an answer for them. So one thing I want to do this year for both concealer and foundation is to do some kind of a comparison, and I'm going to figure out a way I can do this to give it a scoring system or something, because out of all of these concealers, I really do want to find out which one is my favorite, because right now, I don't know. Next up is the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer. I do not like the regular Camo Concealer. It's way too dry, but the Hydrating Camo Concealer is really nice. My shade is Fair Beige. This one gets to stay. The Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. This says 18 hours. I've never put it to that test, but I do think that it lasts well on my eyes. And I also really like this. My shade on this is 002 Neutral Ivory. I do have a fair, cool leaning skin tone. So if you are my shade twin, I will have this stuff listed down in the description box below if you're interested in checking anything out. You will see a theme here, and that I have several concealers that I have more than one shade. That's because I usually end up getting a shade either too light or too dark. And this is one of those situations where I have one that's too light, one that's too dark. But I actually mix these. And rather than mixing them on my face and then getting too much product, I take my mixing palette, which, pro tip, is a soap dish from the Dollar Tree, $1.25. And I put a little bit of the light shade, just kind of roll it like that, and then take the dark shade, roll it, mix it up with my finger, wipe off my finger, and then take just a tiny little bit and dab it under my eyes. Oh, by the way, both of these stay. Another one that I have, two shades, is the Essence Keep Me Covered Concealer. And number 40, Shell, is actually a really good shade for me. Alabaster is too light. I may see if one of my daughters can use this one because they have lighter skin than I do, but really like this formula. The last one that I have two in is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and this one is getting pretty agey, October 2021. It still works okay. It doesn't have a bad smell or anything, but it is something I will be keeping an eye on as we go through the year. This is probably my longest used and most repurchased concealer. This one is quite light on me. Usually what I will do is mix them. This one here, 10, is just about perfect for me. I think this one is 5. Other than the Bobbi Brown, the only high-end concealer I have is this Lancome Effacernes. I believe that they reformulated this. I don't remember exactly when I got this. It might have been in 2022. So it's kind of getting some age, but it's still working okay. So I'm not getting rid of it right now. I do, though, need to make sure that I get some more use out of it so that I don't end up throwing away half a tube of a high-end concealer. By the way, I did not pay the full price for this. I got this when Ulta was having buy the foundation, get the concealer free. And then they also had $10 off of $40. So I got the concealer and the foundation together for about $32. Divide that in half, and basically I paid drugstore price for this high-end concealer. This Jekka Black is probably one of the oldest concealers in my inventory because I got this in an Ipsy box, and I haven't been getting Ipsy for probably 2 years. So this, golly, I've used more of this than I thought I did. So this is one that while I'm not going to get rid of it right now, I am going to put this in a Project 3 Uses or something like that so that I can have a very firm opinion on what I feel about it and how it works, because right now I don't really know. I don't know if it's one I love or if I don't use it because I've used it and I don't like it. Believe Beauty has been historically one of my more favorite concealers. This is either the second or the third one of these that I used. And there's almost nothing left in here. In fact, I've taken the stopper out of this already. The problem is, with these Believe Beauty concealers, and I've had more than one of them do this, the sponge tip applicator on the doe foot comes off. And this one came off like within 3 or 4 uses, really quickly. I typically just put a little on my finger from the wand and use it that way. But it is getting difficult to get out. So I may scrape it out and put it in an empty container that I have kept so that I can use it. This may also go in my PUD basket. Oh, this probably should have been with the eye brighteners. This e.l.f. Under Eye Brightener pen. I don't really like this kind of product. I had another one that I decluttered. It's really just an eye brightener in a different format, although it is not as emollient as those pot ones are. So, interesting. I'm going to keep this, and I am going to do a test between my eye brighteners and see, again, which one do I like the best. I may like this more than I think I do. I've never swatched them all like that at the same time. So I'm going to put this with the eye brighteners and the color correctors rather than my concealer drawer, because I don't reach in the concealer drawer for this type of product. But I can see a use for this, especially since it's not emollient like the others, on a no makeup day or something like that, where I don't want a full-fledged concealer. The Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. This is like OG YouTube beauty, isn't it? This one was purchased in March of last year, so it's fairly new. I've used about half of it, and I will continue to use this. This is in the brightener shade. I actually prefer the concealer shades of this over the brightener because, like I said, I don't often use both a brightener and a concealer. But I need to put this with my brighteners and not in my concealer drawer so that when I'm reaching for that kind of product, it is in the mix. It just gets buried in with the concealers. One of my newer concealers is this Moira Lavish Creamy Concealer. I wanted to try another Moira concealer formula because I have the other one there. And I do like this as well. I think it'd be interesting to do the Moira concealers, one on one eye, one on the other, see which one I like better, and let you guys know. The CoverGirl Outlast Extreme Wear Concealer. I bought this in August of 2023. Wow, I thought it was August of last year. Time flies, you guys. This shade, Buff Beige, is a little bit dark for me. This is a good base concealer for me, but it's not great under my eyes. I am going to keep it because it is such a good face concealer shade. This one and the Moira 150 are really the ones that I have that I can use on my face. The Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer, while I enjoy this concealer, the shade is really bad for me. It's very yellow, and it stays yellow looking even when I blend it out. So I will be decluttering this. It's almost a full container because I never use it because of the shade. When I am wearing a lighter coverage foundation, this Flower Beauty Light Illusion Concealer is my go-to. I love the formula of this concealer and would definitely repurchase it if I use this up. In fact, I think I might have used up one in like 2022 or 2023, and this is a repurchase. The L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear 24-Hour Concealer, I like this too. When I do, especially for like when I'm doing stage makeup and I'm doing full coverage and I need a concealer that's going to match the coverage of the foundation, this one is great. It's really good if you really want a full cover, full glam, lasting makeup. This one is what I reach for that. So yes, that stays. And my newest concealer is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. I don't really have very much from Milani, and my Walmart now carries Milani. It used to not until about a year or so ago. And so I decided to give this a try, and I really like it. I did a good job on the shade, first time out of the gate, and surprisingly, I think I've used quite a bit of this already. 110 Nude Ivory is the shade I got, and it works really well. Okay, so I am actually surprised that I am only decluttering one of my concealers to start with. Now, remember I did say I'm going to put this in a project to see if I like it or if it's going to go, and this one is going in my PUD basket so that I can use it up and get it out of here. But from what I'm looking at here, I actually do have a concealer inventory that I could reach into this drawer, pick out any one of these products, and be happy with how it looks on my skin. Now, like I said, there are some that depending on the foundation I use, whether it's a no makeup look or a full cover glam, that will determine what of these I want to use. But I could just reach in, pick one, and know it's going to work. So to start with, I had 31 concealers, and the value of all of them together was $246.48. The way I got that value is where I had it, I put in the price I paid for it. If I got it for free or if I couldn't find that information, then I just put in the value of what it is on the internet right now. I am only decluttering one, and I'm putting one in a project 3 uses on the chopping block kind of project. So I'm starting out with 30 concealers. And other than the one Believe Beauty that I'm going to put in my PUD project, I don't think that there were a lot of concealers that were like, wow, that's almost gone. Concealers are really hard to use up. So I'm going to be pretty conservative and say that perhaps by the end of the year, I might end up with 25 concealers. Recognizing, of course, that it may be that as I'm going along trying to figure out what my favorite concealer is, that I might find some that I actually really don't like and that don't need to stay. Ideally, I think it might be good to have like no more than 15 to 20 concealers. I think that that would give enough variety without having so many that you're going to get into situations where they're going to get old and you're going to have to throw them away. I like variety. I like playing with new formulas, but also having my old favorite standbys on hand. I'm never going to have like 5 concealers. It's just not going to happen, and it's okay. Okay, moving on to foundations. There are 43 foundations in this basket, and I know that some of these are going to have to go. I'm going to divide this up a little bit into like skin tints and medium coverage, high coverage, that kind of stuff, just to kind of give a little organization to this. Be right back. Let's start with the light finish or serum foundations and work up from there. The Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. This is almost a year in my inventory. There's only about that much left in it. I think if I had to pick one foundation, if I could only keep one, it would probably be this one. Really, really, really like this foundation on my over 50 mature oily combo skin. So yeah, that one's not going anywhere. And when it's gone and I'm not in my no buy, I will definitely repurchase it. This one pretty much stays on my vanity all the time. If I'm in a hurry, I know this is going to work. The Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. Actually, this is what I have on my skin in the intro and the outro of this video. And I really like this. This is the second one of these that I have purchased. Anything that I have actually reviewed on the channel, I will have links to those videos down in the description box below, maybe even in the cards. My shade in this is light medium. I think the first one I just got it in the light and it was a little bit too light on me. But this one is pretty much a perfect shade match. The Misha Perfect Cover BB Cream. I actually have 3 of these. I have shade 21, shade 27, and shade 23. 23 is my perfect shade. I did have one of the shade 23s that I used up completely, and I'm not sure why I bought 21, but it was too light. And so then I bought 27, and somewhere along the line, I decided I was tired of mixing and put them, and so I just got the right one. Number 21, I am decluttering. If you watched my Out the Door in 24 finale, these 2 were in that project, and I did a really good job using up a lot of it. You can see where they were when I started the project. And this one in the last couple of weeks has started looking a little broken up when I pump it out. So I am going to declare this to be done and declutter it. And this one I have decided I'm going to keep and continue to use because I do have some foundations that are a little bit light. But this really mixes in well with the foundation without changing the foundation or how that foundation works. It's kind of very neutral in that respect. And then I'm definitely keeping the shade that works for me because I just really like how this foundation looks and wears on my skin. The Purito Cica Clearing BB Cream in Rose Ivory. I enjoy this as a foundation, but it is very dark and very warm. This is one that I would use the blue e.l.f. color corrector to cool it down a little bit or add in a lighter foundation to try to make it work for my skin tone. However, because the goal is to have something that I can reach in and use, I think I may declutter this. This isn't one that I reach for, and it's because I have to work harder to make it work. And so, yeah, I think this one's going to go. The next one up is Trini London BFF De-Stress Tinted Serum and it is in Jemima. Is that the shade? I'm assuming that that's the shade. This was in a package of things that came from my friend Cindy over at Beyond 50 Skin. She has dry skin. I have oily skin. When she gets PR that won't work on her skin, sometimes she will send it over to me, and I'm very grateful for that. This is another one that is a little warm for me, but I do think that just adding a bit of the blue color corrector would make it work because it's not overly dark. If it's dark and warm, then I kind of have to do two mix-ins to make it work. And so I am going to keep this because I really do like how it looks on my skin. It's very smoothing, and it's really nice for those lighter makeup days. So I'm going to keep that one and keep using it. Now I'm going to skip and go into the full cover foundations because the majority of the foundations are in that medium coverage zone, which is where I like to be most of the time. I have this little AOA Studio Pro Wear Foundation full coverage foundation, and I did a full face of AOA a long time ago, early on in my channel, and this has survived a couple of declutters, but it's not going to survive this one because I thought I might use it, and I just haven't. I never reach for this, and I'm going to be honest with myself and say that I'm probably never going to. So I am going to let this one go. Revlon Age-Defying Firming Lifting Makeup Broad Spectrum SPF 15. I don't know why they even bother to put an SPF 15 in a foundation, because the small amount that you use, you're probably actually getting an SPF of maybe 5. And I would just rather not have the extra ingredients in there to cause irritation and just put on an SPF before I put my makeup on. 35 Natural Beige is too dark for me. I like this foundation. I like the formula. I would consider getting it in a shade that actually works for me, but this one is going to get decluttered. This Rimmel Lasting Finish 25-hour breathable long wear foundation. It is a full cover foundation. It says medium, but it's pretty high coverage. I actually do like this, and it is a good shade for me, so I am going to keep it. Expiration of 3/23. I think I might amend that statement, and because part of my goal was to have makeup that wasn't too old. And this one I bought in November of 21. So yeah, I might repurchase it at some point in the future because I actually do like it, but it still smells okay. Does it have an SPF? Oh, it does have an SPF. Okay, so I am guessing that that expiration is for the SPF. And since I don't use foundations for their SPF, I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment in the comments if you think I should keep the Rimmel or get rid of it. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear it anyway. Right now, this is just going to go in a holding basket until I hear from you guys. Moira Complete Wear Foundation. It is a full cover foundation, and I do really like this foundation. If I am looking for a full cover, this one does a really good job. Ooh, it is a pump. It has a pump, and I have used about half of it, and I want to continue using it and see if I can get through it all. The Hard Candy Glamouflage 16-hour wear is also a full cover foundation. This is in the shade Linen. This one has a doe foot, and I really don't like foundation with a doe foot, but it is a good shade on me, and I do like the foundation, so I am going to keep that as well. This BH Liquid Foundation, Naturally Flawless. I don't have a date of when I got this, but BH Cosmetics hasn't existed as a company for probably 2 years. Let me give this one a sniff. It still smells okay. Let me check the shade. Oh, it's dark. It's dark and orange, and I have a feeling that some of these that are this dark, like this, I would have never used this shade. So I think that they have oxidized with age, and that's why they look like this, because there's no way, even when this was brand new, that I could have used a foundation that looked like that. So the BH Cosmetics, sadly, is going to be decluttered. All right, so of my full cover foundations, I'm only keeping 3 of them. Maybe 4. We'll see. All right, moving into the bulk of my foundations. You'll see another similar theme with these that you saw with the concealers, in that for many of them, I have more than one shade. Probably one of my favorite foundations for so many different use cases is this Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. My perfect shade is 115. For some reason, I got 112 at one time, and so I got 120 to mix with it and offset it. But when I don't feel like messing with the mixing, I just use the 115. The pumps I actually got on Amazon because they do not come with one. I will link the pumps that I purchased down in the description box below. And I'm keeping all of these. I really do want to use this one up. I think I might put it in my pud. There's very little left in there. And then I am keeping both of these. I will go through the hassle of mixing these because I like them that much. And actually in the wintertime, this one works for me. So I may just use this one up and put the pump on the other. So keeping all three of them. This is another one that stays out on my vanity. The e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I did a review on this. I love this foundation. Love it. And I will definitely repurchase when it is gone. I've had it since June of 2024, less than a year, and it's already almost gone. So really, really like it. The shades in these can be really difficult. 20 Light Cool, absolutely perfect for me. Another one that stays out on the vanity, this CoverGirl Clean Invisible. And I really like this too. 110 Classic Ivory is my shade in this one. It's just pretty. It's pretty on my skin. It lasts, and I just don't have to think about it. I can put it on. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and at 10 o'clock at night, it still looks decent. So yeah, really, really like it. This e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation has been discontinued. It has been replaced by this. This was $6. This is now $8. And before this was brought out, this was the only e.l.f. foundation that I've been able to wear. The Camo CC Cream is terrible on my skin, and the Hydrating CC Cream is terrible on my skin. But this was absolutely beautiful, and I really liked it. However, I have had these a really, really long time. Neither one of them are actually the perfect shade for me, and they're starting to separate, and even when I shake them, it's hard to get them to mix back together. So I am going to declutter both of these because now that I have this, I won't reach for these. I'll just use this one. So I did a video comparing the two of these side by side, and there is virtually no difference. So there's no reason for me to keep old, separated, discontinued foundations. When this is gone, I'm going to repurchase this. The Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear, love this. Love, 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 love it. It looks beautiful on my skin. At first, I didn't like it. I thought, what is all the hype about these high-end foundations? This looks terrible. But what I realized is this foundation doesn't play well with primers. I need to use this without a primer, and then it's beautiful. I try to put a primer on, it just never sets well on top of anything. And so, yeah, I will keep this and I will use it. If I have the opportunity to get a deal on it, like I did when I bought it originally, I would definitely repurchase it. However, I think my next high-end foundation purchase might be the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Really want to see what all the hype is about. So I will continue to use this and definitely enjoy it. Essence Keep Me Covered Foundation. I bought these for a full face of Essence, and initially I bought this one, but I think you can probably see that it's really, really light. However, I really, really like this foundation. This is one that I would mix in the number 27 to darken it up so I can use it. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep both of these and just go ahead and use them. Number 7, Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Serum Foundation. This was my holy grail for a long time. I believe this is the 3rd bottle of this that I have purchased. Unfortunately, you really can't find it anywhere. It went away and then it came back at Target, and now it's really hard to find again. I love it. It is the perfect shade. I think this one is vanilla. Yeah, cool vanilla. And it just looks beautiful on my skin. So I will continue to use it. I suppose since it's a serum foundation, it should go with my lighter coverage, but I really do think it gives more of a medium coverage than most serum foundations do. So yeah, I will definitely keep this and use it. The Flower Beauty Light Illusion Luminous Makeup Nude Skin Feel. Usually if something says luminous, I run far, far away from it because I have oily combo skin and I have plenty of glow all on my own. This, however, does not make me overly glowy or dewy. It's just really, really pretty. And so I enjoy this very much. The shade I have is Ivory L2. I think it's a pretty good shade match for me. So I will keep it. It might be a little light, but if I use bronzer and stuff, it's just fine. This one is kicking it back to like 2018, 2019 YouTube. The CYO Life Proof Long Lasting Foundation. I am going to just have to bite the bullet and use the last couple of pumps of this. I think why I was keeping it was because I was hoping that I would find something to replace it. And so I was keeping a little bit so that I could test to see if I came up with something. But I did hear that the Ulta Complexion Crush was very similar to the CYO Life Proof. However, I've never done a side-by-side. And maybe I will now that I've gone through this and reminded myself of it, because I would really like to know if there is a replacement for this. Because this is an airless pump, I'm not really too worried about the age of it, and I am going to use it. But like I said, there's probably 2, maybe 3 uses in it. So I think I will do a side-by-side with these, one on one side of my face, one on the other, just to see if it is actually a replacement for it. And then I will put this in my pud basket, use it up, and move it out. Since I've got it in my hand, we'll talk about the Ulta Complexion Crush. I really like this foundation. Looks really nice on my skin. Fair Neutral is my shade. There's not a lot left in here. It does have a lot of air in the packaging, but I am going to try to use it to completion. And like I said, it's probably to here. So some of these foundations that are getting kind of low, I really do want to focus on them, use them up, and move them out. I have 2 of the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable. One is Soft Ivory N1. This is too light for me, but it is the original formulation. And this is my shade N2, and it is the reformulated one. I think this is going to go in my 3 uses, 10 uses, whatever basket, also known as the maybe basket, on the chopping block, whatever you want to call it, so that I can use it, form an opinion, make a decision. This one, there's not very much left in here, so I think, whoa, wait a minute, expires 4/20? Holy smokes, that's old. I'm going to get rid of that. There's not enough left in here to even worry about. It's going to go. Wet n Wild Photo Focus. This foundation, you guys, is just good. I mean, it smells like paint. Yes, I get it. But it's so pretty on the skin, and it's so inexpensive. Nude Ivory is this shade. There's really not very much left in there, and I think I would like to put this in a rotation so that I can use it up. I think what I'll do is some of these foundations that are almost gone, I might put in a basket all on their own and then have a rotation where twice a week I use those foundations and just rotate through so that they're getting a little more attention than they get when they're in the big basket, and see how many of them I can finish up in 2025. This IT CC Cream Natural Matte, I am going to be passing along to someone else. It does not look nice on my skin. It's too heavy, it looks cakey, it settles in my lines and wrinkles. It is natural matte. I thought for my oily skin that it might look really nice. I've tried the regular IT CC Cream. I don't like it. I tried the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream, which is supposed to be kind of similar to them. Didn't like those. Didn't like the hydrating one, so I thought, oh, this matte one might work really well. This also came from my friend Cindy over at Beyond 50 Skin. And honestly, if it doesn't work on my oily skin, I'm not really sure whose skin it's supposed to work on. But I will see if I can find someone who just absolutely loves this and send it to them, because I've only used it twice and it just got opened in September 2024. So it's not very old, and I would like somebody to get some use out of it, but it's not going to stay in my inventory. The Shape Tape Cloud Coverage. I got this when Shape Tape was doing the 7 products for $69 back in May of 2024. And I actually do kind of like this. It's very light. I have to be really, really careful not to use too much, however. It can get really heavy looking if I use too much. So I'm going to keep this and use it, but I may put this in a project, like a project 10 uses or something like that. Not on the chopping block. It's not one that I want to necessarily make a decision if I'm keeping or not, but it is one that I would like to spend a little more time with because I think I've only used it a couple times. So it might be one that is project bound. The Catrice HD Liquid Cover Foundation was my holy grail, love it, do not want to be without it foundation. However, when I used up the 020 Rose Beige that I had so many foundations that I was not going to allow myself to repurchase it. Okay, confession time. I'm starting a no buy in January, panic buy in December. And I'd been thinking about repurchasing it, and then I knew I wasn't going to be able to for a few months, so in December I bought it. And I'm not sure if they've reformulated it, or if my skin has changed, or what it is, but honestly, I don't love it. And so this is also going to be project bound, maybe a 3 uses, to see if it's going to stick around. The thing about this is because it's so new, if I do pass it along to somebody, at least I know that I'm passing along a product that has a lot of life left in it. Some of these other things I may consider the age, and unfortunately they may just end up in the trash because I don't want to send somebody a product that's old. But this one I definitely want to see how I feel about it. And if it was reformulated, then that makes me sad because this was, like I said, my holy grail. I loved this foundation. The Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation is so good. It's really good, you guys. My shade is Cool Nude, and I bought this when I did that full face of Catrice and have used it ever since and really enjoy it. So yeah, I'm keeping this, using it, and will continue to enjoy it. My mom sells Mary Kay. I've mentioned that before on my channel, and so this Mary Kay Time Wise Matte 3D Foundation, I really enjoy it. In fact, it reminds me a lot of the Ulta Complexion Crush Foundation. This is Ivory N140 is the shade that I have. It's more of a full cover foundation, so I probably should have had it with a grouping of full cover foundations, but it does a really nice job on my skin. I have 2 of the Tier foundations. When they released their expanded color range, they had a sale on Amazon for, I believe it was 40% off, something like that. The small ones were not on sale, but I got this one, maybe they were 50% off. I got this one for like $12 and some change, and this one was regular price of $15. And I didn't know which one would be better. I thought perhaps with my oily skin, this one might work better, but honestly, neither one of them work on my skin. I just don't like the way it sits on my skin, and I've watched several videos that have talked about how you have to use just a really light amount, and maybe it's better if you do a brush or have to blend really well or whatever, but I don't want to have to work that hard to make a foundation work. So I've used this one only once, and I've used this 2, maybe 3 times, but I am going to rehome these. I might put them on my Mercari store, or I might see if I can find somebody who wants them and send them in friend mail. But because they're relatively new and very gently used, I really do want to just pass these along to somebody who's going to use them because I am not going to. And taking the award for the worst foundation I've had on my face in 2024, the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. This was horrible. I know that there are people who love it. I think you must have to have dry skin in order for it to work. It was kind of just not a very pleasant experience because of the beads in the water. And like I was saying with the Tier, I don't want to have to work so hard. So yeah, I won't be keeping that. And the last 3 foundations I have are all from Believe Beauty. This makes me sad because this foundation has been discontinued. I do have one that I just bought in December when I heard that it was going to be discontinued and taken out of the Dollar General stores. The one in my town didn't have it anymore, but I went one town over. They had it, so I bought it. My shade is Porcelain, and I will definitely use it and love it and enjoy it until I don't have it anymore. I did use up a full bottle of it and then didn't write down my shade when I went to buy a new one. And so I, of course, bought the wrong shade and got soft beige. So then I went in and just got a shade that I could mix with it so that I could make it work. And that's how I've been using these. However, the last time I used these, when I squirted them out onto my palette to mix them together, I noticed that they smelled like feet. And they're not supposed to smell like feet. So they've definitely gone off, and I will be decluttering both of these. For foundations, I started out with 43 foundations, and that's a lot. But also remember that some of that is because I had 2 or 3 foundations of the same kind, just in different shades. So what that tells me is I need to get better at picking my shade. But for some reason, it's easier to accept that I had that many when I had so many duplicates just to get the right shade. And that is a downfall to drugstore makeup because you can't test it in the store. However, I am getting better about taking something back if it doesn't work for me. And I didn't do that before because I was buying products just to test them. But I am now really being more careful to only buy products that I'm actually interested in, and also then testing it for you guys. So I'm not buying products just for the channel. I'm buying products that I think will have a place and fit into my inventory and my collection and be used on an ongoing basis. And if I get a product that I'm wrong about that on, then I don't feel bad about returning it to get the one that will work. Does that make sense? I know some people are really opposed to returning makeup because it ends up in a landfill. But if I keep it and I don't use it, it's still going to end up in the landfill. And so I would prefer to return it and then have product that I know that I am going to use and enjoy. The value of those 43 foundations was $474.06. I'm decluttering 10 of those foundations. Some of them will go in the trash because they smell like feet. Others, I will try to find somebody who can use them and pass them along. So I'm starting out 2025 with 33 foundations. I think I'm going to set a goal of having 25 foundations at the end of 2025. Using up 8 foundations is pretty ambitious, but I think there's a couple here that there's just a little bit left in them that'll probably go pretty quickly. And then I also have a couple that I was going to put in a project to see how I felt about them, especially this guy, that may end up getting decluttered. There are also a few that have age on them and they're okay now, but they may not be by the end of the year. So we'll just have to see if anything smells off or isn't performing or seems separated. I will be decluttering it, and you'll see it in my empties because I go through declutters when I do those as well. I try to do those once a quarter. So let me know down in the comments, what's your favorite foundation and concealer? If you could only keep one, what would it be? I don't know yet what I would choose for a concealer, but like I said before, this would probably be the #1 contender for the favorite foundation if I could only keep one. Although this would be really close on its heels for a #2 spot. If you love makeup and you're looking for a community of like-minded women, especially women in our 50s, 60s, and beyond, where we can navigate this crazy, messy middle together and encourage and uplift each other, then I would ask that you would hit that subscribe button before you go. Please don't forget to give it a like, and if you have a little time and want to watch another video, I'll put one right there for you. Have a beautiful, blessed day. I'll see you in that one or in another one. Bye-bye.